Hello and welcome to this episode of Trash to Track. Midweek episode, no less. But I thought I'd upload this as this doesn't go according to plan. Now, I've had this Lima V300 Deutsche Bahn diesel on my shelf for several months waiting to be done for Trash to Track, and I intend to fully service it and DCC fit it. Now, I happen to know that this is a centrally mounted motor and drive shafts the same as the Lima Class 20 and 67. So this was the forerunner and inspiration for British Railway's own warship class, as you can see by the body shell, no doubt. But this is a Coco design instead of a Bobo. Now, just dusting all the old polystyrene and dust off there, we'll give it a quick battery test to see if this actually runs. Now, I've not tried this at all since I've owned it, but putting it on the track proves that it's a very sluggish runner. The lights are on, the headlights, but it's not trying to move at all. And I think that's because of a build-up of oxidisation and dirt on the wheel sets. So we're going to have to sort that out before I even contemplate fitting a decoder to this model. But unbeknownst to me at the time, there was something far worse lurking in the depths of this model. Now, to remove the body shell on one of these, it's quite a tight affair. Now, you have to undo the two clips on each side that are underneath the cab doors. But there's also a secret clip in the middle of the body shell, which you have to gently prise away. And once you've unclipped all 6 clips, the body shell will lift away, revealing a relatively modern looking, by Lima standards, interior with a basic PCB. There's the body shell with all the glazing and cab units, and that's in very good condition. No need to adjust or do anything to that at all. And again, for a Lima, that's usual high detail. So you can see here the centrally mounted motor, not unlike a Bachmann one, driving the bogie towers via drive shafts. So I'm just going to dust all the old fluff and bits of polystyrene off the chassis with the old paintbrush. And then to release the bogies, all you do is with a flat bladed screwdriver just push in the 2 plastic tabs and the bogie tower will drop out. Although you do have to desolder the pickup wires that go to the PCB, unless you fancy working on them dangling down like that, which I didn't. So, and initially, like I said, I was going to fit a decoder to this, so I was going to unsolder all these anyway. So just with the heat of a soldering iron, I undo those 2 solder joints there, and that lets the bogie fall out the bottom. Now, I'll leave the other one in situ for now. I'll work on one at a time. And then there's the drive shaft just falling out. And then looking at it, I try and turn this by hand. It gets stuck about halfway around and seizes up and won't turn anymore. So I'm going to strip this down and have a look. And the bogie plate is held in with 2 screws, as is normal for Lima diesels. But there's also 2 clips, and you have to undo them, which release the wheels. Now you can see this floating centre axle there is not driven. And now that the wheels are out, and it hasn't twigged at this point, but the wheels are now out, the drive shaft and drivetrain turns easily. Which I think, well, that's good. It must have just been something else. But no, it is a problem with the drive wheels, as you'll see in a minute. Now they're stuck in the bogie frame there. So I just pick one out, and you can see there it picks up electricity with like a mini axle on the inside of the wheel there, which the wiper pickups lean onto. So I give the wheels a clean with a fiberglass pencil to remove the oxidisation which is on these wheels. They are very, very dirty. This model has seen some mileage in the past. And then I realise when I'm cleaning them that the actual gear is split on the axle. There is a crack running all the way down it, and it's not sitting tight on the axle, and I'm able to turn it. So I check the other one, and that's the same. So this is turning into a bit of a disaster. So I take the base plate off the bogie we left in the chassis, hoping that these gears are okay, and I'll try and make this a 1 bogie drive loco, but to my absolute horror, these are split as well. So all 4 drive axles have split. The gears are split, and none of them are sitting tight on the axles. So now I am really at a loss. So what I do is, this was Monday, So I'm going to leave this now overnight. I'm going to go on the internet and see if by some miracle there are spares available for this, considering how long ago Lima went out of business. But unfortunately there wasn't. So I looked high and low through all my spares, and the closest I could come up with was this Hornby Class 50 gear. But unfortunately that was no good. That was too big. And then I found a Bachmann 108 gear, and again that was too big. So I even got an old 50 bogey looking at changing the gears to one of these, but the problem is the Hornby gears are so thin and the Lima axle is thick, it's not going to work. So what I thought about doing was, I've got these strong spring clamps, so I thought about gluing them together and hoping that that holds with some Loctite super glue, which is usually good stuff. And if I clamp them together like that, I'm hoping that that will repair the crack and also allow me to super glue them back on the axles. However, I super glued 2 of them, and here they are, and what I found was it was no good, because the plastic seems to have shrunk, because the axles are actually a bit too big to go through that hole now, which is why they've split in the first place. So like I said, there's no spares available for this model at all online. So what I'm going to resort to now, thinking about it, is I'm going to use some 2-part epoxy resin from Gorilla Glue. And I'm actually going to try and glue the gears back together and then put a very small amount on the axle. Glue it all together when it's in the correct position. Clamp it, let it set properly, and see if that holds. Now that is my best bet and only option at the moment, because I can't find any spares. There are Lima spares listed online, but the numbers, the descriptions are just are no good with the numbers. So here are all 4 axles. These are when they were setting. I left them for 6 hours to set. The glue had gone rock solid. So I've put the wheels back on. I used a wheel puller to pull the insulated axle off. All the axles, all the gears are in the right place. The axles are back on. They've been back to back tested, so the gauges are all correct. So I'm going to put these in the chassis and I'm going to put it on the rolling road and give it a test run. Now initially it wouldn't work, but then it jumped into life. As you can see, the lights on there, and at quite fast speeds it was okay, but as you'll hear now, when I slowed the speed down, it clicked like mad, and then it got to the point where you couldn't change direction. The whole thing would seize up. So that was that. The clicking noise it's not working. So what I'm doing now is I'm just taking this bogey apart again to check the status of that of the glue, of the epoxy resin, what we did before. And to my dismay, the cracks have opened again and the gears are no longer gripping on the axles. So even the 2-part epoxy resin would not hold these together. So that's that. That is it. I'm out of options. I cannot find any spares. All the gears cogs I've got at home are too big. I really am at a loss at what to do now. So this will all have to be put into the pending drawer. This is my loco. This isn't one that one of you guys has sent in, so I'm not pushed for time on it. But if anybody out there knows of any axles, gears, any replacement parts I can use on this V300, please do get in touch via email or leave a comment. I'd love to get this running. It's a lovely looking model. And apart from these split gears, everything seems fine. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next video.